What makes a woman fall deeply in love? Secrets men over 50 need to know. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever looked at a woman you cared about and thought, why isn't she falling for me? I'm doing everything right. You're kind, dependable, maybe even successful. You've lived long enough to know what love should feel like, but still, something doesn't click. Here's what most men over 50 don't realize. The things that used to work when we were younger, confidence, charm, maybe even showing off a bit, don't hold the same power anymore. Not with the women you really want. The ones who are emotionally grounded, the ones who've done the inner work, the ones who aren't looking for a thrill, they're looking for peace and connection and truth. You see, women don't fall in love because of your job title or how good you look in a suit. They fall in love because of how safe they feel when they're around you, because of how you listen, because of how present you are, not just in body, but in heart and attention, because you make them feel understood, not judged, seen, not sized up. This is the quiet power most men ignore, but it's everything. Stick with me, because by the end of this message, I'm going to reveal a simple but often overlooked emotional cue that makes a woman's heart open up, sometimes without her even realizing why. If you're tired of guessing what women want, if you're ready for a relationship that feels natural and lasting, this might be the most important thing you read today. Let's talk about what really happens when a woman starts to fall in love. Not the Hollywood version. The real, lasting, kind, the kind that grows stronger with time. And if this message speaks to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. This channel is a space for men like you, thoughtful, wise, and ready for deeper connection. Stay tuned, there's more heart-opening insight coming your way. Let's get one thing straight. Falling in love for most women isn't instant. That might be frustrating to hear, especially if you're the kind of man who feels things deeply, who knows what he wants, and who's ready for something real. But here's the truth. While attraction might happen fast, real, lasting love for a woman doesn't strike like lightning. It unfolds slowly, like layers peeling back one by one. Think of it like this. A woman's love is like a garden. You don't throw seeds in the dirt and expect roses the next day. You nurture it. You show up consistently. You create the kind of environment where something beautiful has the chance to grow. That's what real love is for her, a result of emotional safety. Now, let me be clear. When we say safety, we don't just mean physical safety. That's basic. What we're talking about here is something deeper. Emotional safety means she feels seen, heard, respected. It means she can show up as herself, flaws, fears and all, without worrying that you'll walk away, laugh it off or shut her down. It's about knowing you'll still be there the next day and the day after that, even when things get messy or vulnerable, and this is where something powerful happens in her brain. When she feels that kind of safety, emotional, mental, and yes, physical, her brain starts releasing a hormone called oxytocin. You've probably heard of it before. It's often called the bonding hormone. It's what helps mothers connect with their babies, what makes people feel close after sharing something meaningful. And yes, it's what helps women fall in love. But oxytocin isn't triggered by smooth lines or big romantic gestures. It's triggered by trust, and trust is earned through consistency over time. Here's where many well-meaning men get it wrong. They think being a nice guy means saying yes to everything, always being available and bending over backwards to please. But here's the twist: that doesn't build trust. In fact, it can actually do the opposite. You can be kind and still have strong boundaries. In fact, boundaries are one of the things that make a woman feel the safest. When a woman sees that you have a life you respect, commitments you keep, and a sense of purpose that doesn't disappear the moment she texts you, It tells her something. This man knows who he is, and that kind of man is deeply attractive. You don't need to chase her. You don't need to impress her with grand gestures or expensive gifts. You need to show up, steady, real, clear about who you are and what you want. That's the solid ground she's looking for. So what exactly is she watching for in those first few weeks, when you're getting to know each other, when she's still deciding if she can trust you? She's picking up on 4 key signals, not always consciously, but deeply and instinctively. Consistency. Are you the same person today that you were yesterday? When you say something, do you follow through? This isn't just about showing up for her, it's about how you show up for yourself. If you say you're focused on your health or working on a business idea or trying to rebuild your life after a divorce, are you following through on those things? She's paying attention. Presence. Are you truly there when you're with her? Or are you distracted, checking your phone, thinking about what you'll say next, or trying to steer the conversation toward impressing her? A woman can feel the difference between real presence and performance. When you listen, really listen, it tells her she matters. Emotional intelligence. Can you handle emotions, including your own? Can you sit with her sadness, her fear, even her anger without trying to fix it or shut it down? A woman wants to know that you have the capacity to meet her in that emotional space, not with solutions, but with understanding. If you've done the inner work, if you've looked at your own pain, your own past, she'll feel that. Future compatibility. Do you know where you're headed in life? Do you have goals, dreams, direction? You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to be someone who is going somewhere. Because if she's going to build something with you, she needs to know you're not standing still. Now let me share a story that might sound familiar. Dave, a 58-year-old retired firefighter, came to me after going through 3 breakups in 5 years. He was confused, frustrated, even a little heartbroken. He said, "I treated these women like queens. I took them on weekend getaways. I bought flowers, jewelry, you name it. I told them how amazing they were every chance I got. But they all left me." What Dave didn't realize is something I see often. He was giving too much, too soon. He hadn't built emotional trust. He was trying to buy connection instead of creating space for it to develop naturally. In trying so hard to win their hearts, he skipped the slow-building foundation that love really rests on. Once Dave slowed down, started focusing on being present instead of impressive, something changed. He began to connect with women who weren't dazzled by the surface, but drawn to his depth. And one woman in particular, a widow named Sarah, told him what made her feel close to him wasn't the gifts. It was the night he sat with her on her porch and just listened, silently holding her hand while she talked about losing her husband. That's what made her fall. His presence, not his performance. Let me share something with you that most men overlook, especially men who genuinely care and want something real. The secret to love isn't effort, it's timing. You can say all the right things, show up with gifts, attention, even affection. But if you rush a woman, if you try to move the connection faster than she's ready for, you might trigger her fear, not her affection. And that's hard to accept. I know you're not trying to hurt her. You just want to show her that you're serious, that you care, that you're all in. But for a woman, especially one who's been through some life, who's had her heart broken, or who's doing the hard work of growing emotionally, that much intensity too soon can feel like pressure, not passion. So here's the real truth. Don't rush. Let the connection breathe. Let it unfold. Give it space to grow into something solid. That means being steady, being consistent. If you text her every morning, don't suddenly disappear for 2 days. And at the same time, don't flood her with messages every hour. There's a balance between attention and space, between interest and neediness. You want her to feel your presence, not your panic. Now, here's where things get tricky, and where a lot of men hit a wall. What if she pulls away, even after it seemed like things were going well? First, take a breath. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't assume it's about you, because the truth is, it might not be. Many emotionally mature women carry invisible emotional scars. Maybe she's been abandoned before. Maybe she's had her trust broken by someone she deeply cared about. Maybe she's built up walls just to survive, so when she starts to feel something real, something deep, her old fears may suddenly show up. That closeness can scare her. Not because you did anything wrong, but because closeness feels like danger to a nervous system that's been wounded before. So what do? You hold steady, you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't start flooding her inbox with questions or declarations. Instead, you hold your center. You show her, through your calm, your kindness, your patience, that you're not going anywhere. That she can come back when she's ready, and you'll still be standing there, solid. If you feel it's appropriate, ask gently, with care, not pressure. Say something like, "Hey, I noticed you've been a little distant lately. Is something coming up for you? I'm here if you want to talk about it." That simple sentence? It's more powerful than you might think, because what you're offering her is not a demand, it's safety. You're saying, "I see you, I'm not scared of your emotions, I'm here and I won't try to fix you." And this is the emotional signal that unlocks everything. It's the moment when a woman realizes she can be her full emotional self around you, that she doesn't have to hide parts of her heart, that she won't be judged, corrected, or abandoned for showing her vulnerability. When a woman feels seen, heard, and accepted, something opens in her. Her walls start to come down. Her heart begins to trust and love. Real love starts to form. So how do you create that kind of emotional safety? One word: rhythm. Women thrive on rhythm, not routines out of obligation, but rhythms that feel grounding and dependable. If you have a rhythm of calling her at 7 p.m., then stick to that. If you go on a walk together every Sunday morning, keep showing up. It's not about being rigid, it's about being reliable. Her nervous system registers that rhythm and interprets it as, "I can relax. I can trust this man. He's consistent." When she opens up emotionally, don't rush to fix it. Don't immediately jump in with advice or solutions. Just be present, really present. Look her in the eye, nod, listen, and when it's your turn to respond, try something simple like, "That sounds like a lot. I hear you. I'm here with you." Those words, those few words, can mean more to a woman than hours of problem solving, because what she's really looking for isn't someone to fix her life. She's looking for someone who can walk beside her through it. And lastly, be clear. Don't play games. Don't hide behind confusion or vagueness. Tell her what you feel, what you want, where you stand. Clear communication isn't just mature, it's magnetic. In a world where everyone's afraid to be honest, your clarity will shine. Remember this: love isn't about intensity, it's about attunement. It's about paying attention, listening closely, holding space, creating steady rhythm, and trusting that, if it's meant to grow, it will, naturally, beautifully, and in its own time. You're not here to rush her heart. You're here to be the kind of man it can rest safely in. Here's one of the most important truths I can leave you with. Never punish a woman for needing time. If she's a conscious, emotionally aware woman, someone who has spent years learning about herself, healing from past wounds, and figuring out what she truly wants, then she's not going to rush. She's not going to jump into something just because it feels exciting in the moment. She's going to pause, observe, and move at the pace that feels emotionally safe to her. And here's what you need to know: that's a good thing. You see, when a woman takes her time, she's not testing your patience. She's testing the container, the space you offer. Her emotionally, she's quietly asking herself, can I trust this man? Can I show him all the parts of myself and still be loved? Will he still be here if I need to go slow? When you respect her pace, when you don't push, don't guilt, don't pressure, what you're really saying is, I see you, I respect you. I'm not here to control anything. I'm here to build something real. And that's exactly what sets you apart as a man who is ready for lasting love. So let's bring everything we've talked about together. Women, especially emotionally mature women, don't fall in love with surface-level charm. They don't fall in love with flashy gestures, big muscles, or how many zeros are in your bank account. That might catch their attention. Sure, but it won't keep their heart. What they fall in love with is something deeper, something slower, something grounded. They fall in love with a man who is present, not just physically but emotionally, a man who listens without interrupting, sir. Man who notices the small things, a man who knows how to sit in silence and let her be fully herself. They fall in love with a man who is steady, who doesn't run when things get difficult, who keeps showing up. Not because he's trying to impress, but because it's just who he is. They fall in love with a man who makes them feel safe, not by being perfect, but by being consistent, respectful, honest. A man who lets her breathe, who doesn't demand anything from her, but still stands strong in his own values. That's the kind of love that lasts. And here's where men over 50 have a unique advantage. You've lived. You've seen heartbreak, change, maybe even loss. You've likely had relationships that taught you what matters and what doesn't. You've grown. You've found your voice, and now you have the chance to offer something that younger men often can't. Depth. Women over 45 aren't looking for fireworks. They've had those, and they've also had the burn that comes after. What they crave now is warmth, consistency, intimacy that grows quietly, not explosively. They want someone who can sit beside them at the end of a long day and just be. Someone who values laughter, quiet moments, and the kind of closeness that's built over time. You can be that man, but it starts with letting go of the rush, the proving, the fear of not being enough. It starts with being real. So if you're ready to build something true, if you want the kind of relationship that feels like home, then be that safe space. Let her be herself, even when she needs space or silence. Let her see your heart, even when it's vulnerable, and most of all, be a man who knows his own worth. That's the man she's been waiting for. And if anything in this message spoke to you, even just one line, take a moment and share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every message. You're not alone. In this, we're all navigating the same messy, beautiful human experience together. Let me know, where are you in your journey? Have you experienced this kind of connection before, or are you just starting to open your heart again after years of closing it off? And if you stick with me for the next video, I'm going to share something small but powerful. A simple behavior shift that makes emotionally guarded women feel deeply connected to you almost instantly. It's subtle, but it changes everything. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, slow down, breathe, be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think. And remember, love isn't something you chase. It's something you create space for. You've got this.